Hello everyone and welcome back to the Common Sense Crypto channel. As with you always, this is Rich doing another video today on XRP. So I hope you're all having a wonderful day today wherever you are in this great world. We're going to talk about XRP. I'm going to talk about a few other things that are going on as well. This comes from Wrath of Common. As of May, SBI Holdings reports that they are in active discussions to handle RLUSD and SBI VC trade. They speak of Ripple payments using XRP still, and the company remains bullish on Ripple, still gives XRP as a reward to their investors. So now it looks like they're going to start utilizing RLUSD as well. Think about them using RLUSD in some instances, but still utilizing XRP in the background to move RLUSD. That's what I think is coming. Deutsche Bank explores stablecoins, tokenized deposits for asset management. You know, everything starts with a stablecoin. Then right after that, all these institutions and banks start talking about tokenization shortly after. And you see it right here, just in. $1.5 trillion Deutsche Bank considers issuing its own crypto stablecoin. It is coming. Every single bank will have their own stablecoin. But when they go to move that stablecoin, they're still going to need a trust layer like XRP. They're also going to need RippleNet technology to move that stablecoin very fast and very cheap. But Ripple was never about replacing the banks. They want to connect the banks together. Take a listen to Brad here.
Ripple is really focused on how do we enable an internet of value? How do we make value move the way information moves today? And that's our big kind of multi-year, 10-year view of how the world will evolve. And it's really how do we dial that back and to make it tactical and real today and tomorrow. And I think if you want to enable an internet of value, you've got to connect the repositories of value. Right. And the repositories of value, as big as the Bitcoin value proposition is today, the banks own trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars of assets. So if we want to enable an internet of value, we've got to connect the banks and payment service providers and MSBs. And we're excited to have made a bunch of progress on that.
The problem with Bitcoin maxis is this. They believe that the US dollar is going to disappear. They also think the banks are going to be replaced by Bitcoin. But when you're out there trying to replace the banks, and we all know the banks aren't going anywhere, they're going to consolidate, you're most likely going to be left with a handful of banks. But when you're going to connect to those banks, that's a better route because that's where all the real value is. Global head of policy at Plaid drops a bombshell. Once that stablecoin framework is in place, traditional financial institutions are going to start seeing a pathway to use stablecoins in back offices, balance sheets, bank-to-bank transfers, and a replacement or alternative to SWIFT. Massive confirmation. This comes from Smoke. Once stablecoin legislation passes, the floodgates open. Banks will have a green light to ditch traditional rails and move directly into stablecoin systems. They're also going to connect to RippleNet technology as well as an alternative to SWIFT. The banks don't like SWIFT. People act like these 11,000 SWIFT customers are happy customers. They're not. When something is very expensive and it takes days for a transaction to complete, people already were looking for an alternative years ago. Mark your calendar. June 17th, the SEC is expected to issue a decision on Franklin Templeton's proposed XRP ETF, a move that could give institutional investors direct access to XRP via traditional markets. Approval equals more liquidity, more legitimacy. All eyes on this one. Here's what I think's going to happen. Either the Rippleverse SEC case has to wrap up before that day, or they will delay this once again. Now, the case doesn't need to be over for these ETFs to go live, but I think that's the path that the SEC is going to take. They're probably going to wait until the case is all done and over with. Then you'll see approval after approval for these ETFs. XRP Turbo set to launch first AI agent launchpad on the XRP ledger. I talked about this a little bit in a video the other day. So we all know AI powered agents are coming. They're going to help you get the most passive income out of your crypto. And this is also going to bring a lot of utility to XRP as well. But AI agents are going to go beyond that. It's not just going to be about making you money. They're going to be doing your shopping for you, making sure you get the cheapest price on things that you want to own. AI agents are going to be part of your everyday life. And the World Economic Forum has been telling you this has been coming for years now. Think about going on vacation, okay? So the AI will be your travel agent. It will book your flight, everything. While you're on vacation, the AI will be making you consistent money off of your crypto at the same time. It's going to make people's lives a lot easier. But what's going to happen with AI is it's also going to replace a lot of people's jobs. That is not going away. The gig economy is booming, but is it fair work? Now they want AI regulations when it comes to gig economy as well. The gig economy is here to stay. It's not going away. In fact, it's been growing year over year ever since 2020. AI is also starting to take a lot of jobs away there as well. That's why they're calling for regulation now. But they always cite 2030 at the World Economic Forum. I don't think this is going to happen in 2030. I think this is all going to be in place by 2028, if not sooner, because we're already seeing how fast AI is advancing. We're also watching technology push ahead every single day. It's not slowing down, it's speeding up. And some people see it. Other people are like, oh no, that's still a decade down the road. Even quantum computers. Nobody that holds Bitcoin likes to talk about quantum computers because they know the threat of quantum computers. That's why they always like to say, well, that's 20, 30 years down the road, when in fact, it's most likely 2 years away. It's not stupid. The 4-day work week is meant to slowly downgrade humans in the workplace and replace them with AI and robots. Once that's gone, it'll be part-time jobs, then nothing. Even Shark Tank star Kevin O'Leary is blasting the 4-day work week. And he's not wrong. You know, if we move into the 4-day work week, next it'll be the 3-day work week. Then you'll only have to go to work 2 days a week. Oh, well, we're going to cover you for the other hours that you're missing in your paycheck. That's how they will take you from working full-time into universal basic income. And universal basic income has been around for a while now. Every U.S. city is testing free money programs, and that started back in 2020 as well. And it picked up a lot of momentum, and it's still gathering more momentum as we push ahead. And you see it. And so many people are pushing for UBI as well. They think it's the greatest thing ever, but they don't really understand what comes with universal basic income. It's going to be programmable money. Money that if you don't spend it by the 31st or the 30th of the month, unless it's February, maybe the 28th or 29th of the month, that money will expire until the next month. So there's no saving money anymore. Think about people that want to open up a small business. That won't be an option. Where are you going to get the money to do that? And what bank is going to give you a loan based on universal basic income? They're going to say, well, if you don't have money, we're not going to loan you money. That's why it's so important to get rich off of your crypto while you still can. I think anybody that makes a shit ton of money off their XRP or XLM, they're going to be transacting away from the universal basic income system as well. Because I think UBI will be running on the CBDC rails. Crypto holders and rich people will be transacting on separate rails. But this is not going to slow down. And people that are fighting for universal basic income, they need to really dig deep and start to realize what you wish for may not be what you actually want. Trump signs orders on deregulating flying cars and supersonic flight. I had to share this in a video because it looks like flying cars are also coming. And when you first talked about this, I remember talking about this back in 2022, and people were like, dude, flying cars are like a decade out. I would not think they're a decade out anymore. Most likely, flying cars will also be a thing by 2028. Again, because if they're now clearing the path for this, they already have this technology. Anything that you want to see that they're calling for regulations on right now, they already have. It's not something that they're going to start working on now. They already have that technology. Congressman Thomas Massie has introduced the Gold Reserve Transparency Act of 2025 to audit U.S. gold reserves. Now, I thought we were supposed to do this a while ago. I remember talking about this like back in January. So nobody has performed this audit yet, apparently. And what about the Bitcoin audit? Honestly, I think a lot of the gold is missing, and I would not be surprised if most of the Bitcoin is missing as well. A lot has happened with the previous administration. A lot of money seemed to disappear over that period of time. And look at how much debt we racked up in that period of time as well. But you know, no matter how any of this plays out, the secret sauce is XRP. Liquidity crisis, XRP. Debt problem, tokenize the debt. Get new investors in the debt. The debt will be running across the XRP ledger. And something like XRP will be moving it. Then you start to look beyond that, and all these banks with these stable coins all of a sudden, they all need a trust layer. We are holding the trust layer. And as far as AI, you're invested in that as well. Think about it like this. You're invested in two industrial revolutions at the same time. I urge people that I know outside of crypto all the time, why don't you just take a little bit of money and put it into this? It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. This opportunity is never coming again in your lifetime. You got to capture this moment, because if you don't, you are going to regret it for the rest of your life, knowing that you could be buying XRP at $2 and change instead of buying a piece of an XRP at $1,000 plus, because that is absolutely coming. But until it happens, stay patient, stay positive, and let's get rich together. With that said, I'm going to wrap up this video. I want to thank you all for watching. I appreciate all of you. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great night.